Hello, Northgate family, and thank you for tuning in for this week's vlog. As we return the building to its original uses, every room gets reshaped yet again, and I no longer have the same fancy studio that I once had. So I'm here in my office with a makeshift lighting setup, here to talk to you today. First, I just want to say that this week, June 28th, we're beginning our first come, first served check-in system for reserving space in the building for our Sunday services. So you no longer have to pre-register online beforehand. You just have to be there and be ready and willing to be flexible with where we have available to seat you. We have a certain capacity limit for the sanctuary, but we have several overflow rooms ready to go if we fill the capacity available there. You know, I can hardly believe that 2020 is almost halfway over. It has been a whirlwind like none other, due to many factors, but the biggest of which is certainly coronavirus, as it changed the way we live from day to day and the way we do ministry, or even are available to do ministry. It's been a season of incredible creativity and humility as we learn and grow and discover who Jesus is in brand new and fascinating ways. When the disease first hit us in March, there was so much information coming at us from left and right, and it felt like everything changed minute to minute. But now that we've had some time to settle down and relax, we've been able to study this disease and understand it in a better way. I'd like to take just a few minutes of your time and share with you what I know to be true about coronavirus. There's still so much information out there, and it's hard to know who to trust or how to sort through all of the information. But I'm making this video to hopefully help you understand the real facts about COVID-19. I also hope that after years of serving you as your pastor, that you'll trust that this information is well researched and well read, and trust me not just as your pastor, but as your friend, wanting to care for you. I've done all kinds of reading and watching and learning about this virus as information continues to pour forth and new discoveries are made. And I'm only going to share with you what I know to be true and verifiable from multiple reliable sources, with the caveat that, of course, new information is still coming out all the time. We, as leaders of this community, will continue to put forth the very best practices based on the best information available. With that said, let's get to some of the science behind coronavirus. As its name suggests, it's a virus, and a virus is a different type of sickness. But this virus attacks and develops in the respiratory system. Main symptoms of COVID-19 include shortness of breath, lack of energy, body aches, and fever. Because it is a virus, it can attack our individual immune systems in different ways and have varying degrees of effect. The severity of these symptoms can vary from person to person, some even requiring hospitalization. That was the goal as we flattened the curve, that we wouldn't overwhelm our whole healthcare system. At the time of this writing, there are nearly 10 million cases of COVID-19 worldwide, and nearly 500,000 deaths worldwide as well, with over 122,000 in the US alone. I say these things not to create fear in your heart, in your mind, but to inform you. These are important numbers to understand. While continued testing has shown a rise in cases, the number that we really want to pay attention to is hospitalizations. Hospitalizations have seen an increase as restrictions have been lifted. The good news is that of those nearly 10 million cases, millions and millions of people have recovered from COVID-19. It's not a death sentence. That is wonderful news. However, few people have recovered without consequence. This is not a 24-hour bug. You could be on your back for weeks on end with long-term effects in tow. Some potential long-term effects of COVID-19 include fibrosis in the lungs, causing difficulty breathing even well after you've recovered. You could experience prolonged loss of taste or smell. Severe cases require ICU hospitalizations, and as we've seen, many cases of COVID have ended in death in 6 short months. We don't want anyone to have to face this disease, even in a mild case. To be infected with COVID-19, you have to receive infected cells to begin with. As a virus, it is transferred through the transmission of viral cells from one person to another. These viral cells that come from our lungs are emitted through micro water droplets. We spew these micro droplets when we cough, sneeze, sing, talk, and even breathe. This seems to be the only way that these viral cells are transmitted to others. So there is a limit to how far these micro droplets can go in the air on their own. They're not just going to float there forever. Thankfully, this is why physical distancing can be helpful in reducing the rate of transmission of the disease. These micro water droplets can't go far enough for you to inhale them. But if these infectious cells do enter your system, whether breathing them in or touching your face or eyes or nose, then they'll start to multiply and to attack healthy cells and convert them into viral cells. These droplets can linger in the air and float some time, but they'll eventually fall to the ground where without a host, they'll eventually die, which is how the effects of quarantine work to eliminate the disease. That's also why we regularly disinfect surfaces and wash our hands on a regular basis to keep any of those germs, any of those droplets that we've taken, and wash them down the sink. While there is a chance to develop coronavirus by touching surfaces with infected cells and then touching your face or eyes, it's not the biggest risk. The biggest risk is inhaling these infectious cells that are lingering in the air. But because these water droplets are not microscopic, we can physically stop them with our masks. When you wear a mask of any kind, you greatly reduce the chance and opportunity for those around you to be infected if you happen to have the disease. You are physically catching those micro droplets of infected cells in your mask and keeping them from spreading out into the air around you. Wearing a mask can also prevent you from inhaling those infectious cells as well, but that's less effective than stopping the cells at their source of an infected person. But this next point is the biggest issue, concern, and problem with COVID-19 and the reason that it spread so fast. There's a period of time after the initial infection that you show no signs and no symptoms of sickness. There's no body aches, there's no fever, there's no shortness of breath, but you are still transmitting infectious cells and spewing those micro water droplets everywhere you go. This time of asymptomatic transmission is the most difficult part of this disease because you look healthy, you feel healthy, but you're causing others to get sick and you don't even know it. This is why it is so important to wear a mask at all times in public and especially in large gatherings. My cousin and his family recently recovered from COVID-19, and he got it by going to the gym and playing basketball with seemingly healthy individuals. We don't want anyone to suffer unnecessarily from the effects of coronavirus. And wearing a mask protects those around you more than it even protects yourself. Wearing a mask is an act of selflessness, and it is the only way that we as a community, state, country, and world have to combat this global pandemic right now. Masks are going to be the normal until we have a vaccine. Science is a gift of God's grace. The mere fact that we can discover a way to teach our own natural immune systems how to fight this disease without facing the consequences and ramifications of it is a miracle in and of itself. But if we work together, we can protect those around us and eventually nearly eliminate COVID-19 like we have done in the past with polio, smallpox, and the measles. My job, as always, is to speak the truth in love to you. And not wearing a mask in public is an act of selfishness. It shows a clear disregard for the health and well-being of those around you. You're not tough or brave by not wearing a mask. You're revealing your immaturity and lack of faith in the Lord because Jesus loves those people around you and he doesn't want them to suffer. We as Christians need to embrace humility and put on a servant attitude, I know masks aren't comfortable and some of them are difficult to breathe in, but I don't think that Jesus was very comfortable when he went to the cross or when he got on his hands and knees and washed the feet, the dirty, smelly feet of his disciples. But the creator of the universe humbled himself and washed the feet of his disciples as an example for us about how we can be humble and serve those around us. Wearing a mask is the simplest, smallest gesture of love, kindness, and care to those around you. Put on this attitude of servanthood. Put on an attitude of humility. Put on Jesus when you put on your mask. I hope that this has been helpful and informative. My goal is not to create fear, but to educate, to pull us all together, to be in the know about what is going on and how this can affect our hearts and our lives. This message is not directed at any one person, but an opportunity for us to come together and understand our goal as a church and as a community to protect those who are vulnerable around us. It's a reminder that we all have a part to play, not just in battling this pandemic, but in the body of Christ. Each person has a role. Not everyone is a hand or a foot or a stomach. We all have particular gifts and skills, and we all need to utilize and be a part of what God is doing in this world. So pray with me that the Lord would bring about redemption and healing to our country. Physically, emotionally, culturally, we need to be the agents of change, leading the charge to guard and protect our fellow man. That's what Jesus did. He went to the cross for our sake. So let's serve the people around us. Let's remind ourselves that we are the church. The church serves, the church prays, the church loves. And a simple act of all of those things is putting on a mask. So this Sunday, as we worship together, I know it's difficult to sing, it's difficult to talk, it's difficult to interact, but you are caring for the people that you're sitting next to by wearing that mask. And we appreciate it. We greatly do. Life in the church now is so much simpler than 2,000 years ago in the New Testament church. This is nothing compared to the persecution that they went through. So let's endure together. This is only a season. We can do this together. I love you all. I can't wait to worship with you on Sunday, and we'll see you next time.